Hey there, welcome to the DFS build. This is not a DFS show. This is for the 2024 Fantasy Football Draft. Doing a mock out of the seventh slot. I've already done a few of these videos doing the number one, the number two, the 11th, and the 12th. That is to help anybody who's picking very early in fantasy football drafts this year, and also to help anybody who's picking very late. So there's a lot of question marks as far as what your strategy should be, who the people you're picking at initially when your drafts start. For the top spots and those bottom slots, the people at the top want to know, okay, I have one of the top premium picks in my draft. Who do I take? Do I take CMAC number one, and so on and so forth? And then later on, when you're in the 11th or 12th slot, not only who should I pick there, how do I build a winning roster after that first pick? So that's the point of these mocks. I'm just kind of pointing you to the people that I like this year and showing you how to build a winning lineup. I'm using the Fantasy Pros mock draft lobby. You're facing real people. You can pick your slot, pick your exact team or league size and settings. We're doing 12 team, full PPR. Everything else is pretty standard. We're not doing super flex mocks just yet. I might roll out one of those if anybody wants to see it before the summer is up. Drafts are still going on. The season is still a little bit over a week away. So hopefully we can provide some value there. Let's see here. I have the seventh pick, and the reason why I'm doing this one is not just to help people, but for two reasons. Number one, to kind of hit that anywhere between the fifth and eighth pick in your draft. Hopefully this video can help you out. If there is a slot that you have not seen me do yet that you really, really want to see done because you're preparing for your draft, let me know in the comments below and I'll see if I can carve one out. But also the second reason why I'm doing this is because I have my home league draft in this weekend and I'm operating out of the seventh slot this year. So it's just kind of a fun thing to do, a live run of it for me, although it's not literally live, but just me doing a video of me piecing together my own strategy. So you can definitely look at this as I have incentive to give the best possible advice because I want to prepare myself just as well for this exact draft slot. So we'll kick it over to my roster here, and my pick is coming up in 6 picks. Obviously, we just got started. M. Hershey has the number one overall pick. I'm assuming it's Christian McCaffrey, and there you go. We've talked about that a lot. Christian McCaffrey is the number one fantasy football weapon that you can target, but it's a full PPR league. So if you want to go target a wide receiver, that's fine. And if you also want to pivot to one of the other top running back options, Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson, I don't have a problem with that either. I personally want to take a running back early just because there are no other options after the first round that can actually match what they can do. I think it's at least arguable that there are enough really good wide receivers to the point where you don't actually need to invest in one in the first round. But I also don't mind it. Like it's kind of a both sides argument. You definitely can do it, and there is merit to doing it. All right, 3 picks away here. What do I want to do? I do want to get if I can get a stud running back, that's how I'd like to start it, but it's not always going to be possible. I'm a little bit surprised that I actually have a shot at one still. Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson, love them both quite a bit. They are both still in play. Jahmyr Gibbs is certainly one of my favorite running backs. Also, Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. I think, though, after you get past CMAC, Bijan, and Breece, if those guys are off the table, I'd probably start looking to wide receiver. My main strategy across all the mocks I do starts with waiting on quarterback until I feel comfortable on taking one, or if there's a value that I just can't deny, and also waiting on tight end until at least round 5. If I get to round 5 and somebody like Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid are there, and I don't feel like I can wait till my next pick, I will take them in round 5. If they're not there, if the guy that I want is not there, or I'm just feeling that there's better value elsewhere, I'll then wait to take tight end probably round 6 or round 7. And we'll go over that a bit depending on how this mock draft plays out. The funny thing with mock drafts, I'm going to kind of walk you through every pick I make and the other guys kind of around that pick that I would end up considering. But this mock is fluid. This is like a live draft, and your live draft won't go exactly like this, but at the same time, things could break your way. So, perfect example of that, I have the 7th pick, and for some reason in this mock draft lobby, Bijan Robinson is still available. So, I'm going to take him because that's insane. And I will gladly start off drafts in the 7th slot with Bijan Robinson. But in a full PPR league, it's very possible, especially in a home league where not everybody may know exactly what they're doing, or they just value people differently than you do. It's possible that a lot of wide receivers go early, and maybe even the top tight end. So looking at how this is shaking up so far, Sam Laporta is the tight end one overall. The consensus top tight end, he's still available. No tight ends are off the board just yet. At wide receiver, we've lost quite a few. CeeDee Lamb went number 2. Tyreek followed. Rome Odunze. So that just really messes everything up. I don't know why Rome Odunze would have gone that early. That's a terrible pick. So that obviously leads to Bijan dropping a slot or 2. And then obviously before I picked, Jamar Chase also went. And then I really like Breece Hall as well, who I prefer over Bijan, but not by a crazy amount. The Odunze pick really is what allowed me to get Bijan here. Oh, you know what? I'm actually sharing my screen on the wrong thing the whole time. That is hilarious. Okay, so let's do this. Go over to mock draft lobby. You got to see my face. Oh, wrong one again. What am I doing? All right, share. Here we go. All right, so you couldn't see what I was looking at the whole time, so my apologies for that. And no, I'm not going to edit anything out because I don't have time for that shit. So hopefully me blabbering on while you're looking at the Fantasy Pros draft lobby did it for you as we got going here. Okay, so at any rate, somebody drafted Rome Odunze, so that was annoying. But guess what? That is what can happen in these home leagues. So my assumption is if you're at the 7th spot, you're not going to get Bijan Robinson, okay? So, but in that range, you still could be looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe Jamar Chase, probably not. Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, and then running backs that are still on the board: Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon, Jonathan Taylor. Those are all guys that absolutely I would be considering, depending on who is available and who isn't. I will say, just since we're here, we're looking at these guys. Kyren Williams, the whole news about him now returning punts for the Rams. I don't want to overreact to it, but considering the investment we have to make in him, I'm definitely bumping him down, and I'm not as excited to take him anymore. So if Bijan wasn't there, I'm probably going for a stud running back in like Jonathan Taylor, or maybe Jettas, who I think is super, super devalued this year, even though he's going to get just monstrous volume. And by the way, Sam Darnold is not Nick Mullins or Jaren Hall or Josh Dobbs. Sam Darnold was a former first-round draft pick. He has major arm talent. He has experience. He's done well enough in the past to allow DJ Moore to be a solid fantasy asset. So he's got Jettas. He's got the best coaching staff, the best system, the best surrounding talent he's ever had in his career. I think we might be in for at least respectable season out of Darnold. So Jettas is definitely on the table for me there. So at this point, Etienne's really good value in round 2, but I already have my top running back. I don't need to go running back here. I'm going to slide over and go wide receiver. And my favorite wide receiver, who never is there when I'm drafting in the second round, is going to be Drake London. I just think we're going to look at monster volume with Kirk Cousins there. They're going to pass a little bit more than they did last year. In general, he just has a huge quarterback upgrade. He's never had a quarterback this good who can actually deliver the ball to him on time and pepper him with targets. So both he and Kyle Pitts look really, really good this year. And the big question that everybody's going to ask is, can you get away with Bijan and Drake on the same offense? I think you can, because the Vikings have proven that over the years, that guys like Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Dalvin Cook, they can all exist in the same world and all have, big numbers and be really productive. I just think Drake London offers a really good floor and as good of a ceiling as you're going to get out of wide receiver in the second round. In that same area, if you don't want to draft a second Falcons player, if you don't want Bijan with Drake, which, by the way, you're probably not getting Bijan anyway, so this isn't really a thing you have to worry about out of the 7th slot. You can absolutely pivot to Cooper Kupp or Jalen Waddle. I do not want Michael Pittman catching passes from an inaccurate Anthony Richardson. I feel like Anthony Richardson himself is a great fantasy asset due to his elite rushing floor, but I don't trust him to consistently get Pittman the ball like we're going to need him to. I mean, do you trust Cooper Kupp to stay healthy either? That's a fair knock for sure. But Cooper Kupp is a former wide receiver 1 overall, and if he's going to get the target volume that he did when he was healthy, I think that's something we want to draft in the second round if we feel good about it. So when I pick in the second round from the 7th slot, I absolutely will be considering Waddle and Kupp also up there with Drake London, but I never get Drake London. So I want a Drake London share. We know what Kirk has done with Justin Jefferson. So Drake London's in for a huge, huge year, and I just think he has a little bit more upside than Waddle and Kupp as the guaranteed number one option in that passing game. I get a sip of water as we wait. We are 6 picks away before we go into the third pick here. So at this point, it's wide open. You can kind of do whatever you want. I'm going to continue to wait on tight end and quarterback. So I'm looking at wide receiver. I'm 2 picks away. If I can get Kupp here, that would be amazing. Ayuk still got the holdout thing. I think he's you can still pick him. I think he's going to play, whether he gets traded to the Steelers or Commanders or sticks with San Francisco. He's a good pick. Nico Collins looks really good, although Stephon Diggs is there to kind of potentially limit his ceiling. Debo would be a smash pick if Ayuk is traded away. DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, all these guys are good, but the number one guy is Cooper Kupp for me if he can last. I could also go back to running back. If you want to roll the dice on Kyren Williams, you can. Devon Achane is really high upside RB2. And Cooper Kupp and Sam Laporta are gone. So at this point, I probably am going to just see what wide receivers come back to me, and I'm just going to go get Devon Achane and hopefully, hopefully the next time I go up, hopefully there's a good group of wide receivers for me to choose from. You can also entertain Isaiah Pacheco, who's got a really, really nice role with the Chiefs. We know that's a good offense. It got even better, and he's just got a massive role. He does not have any real competition. He's going to have the early down work. He's going to get catches. He's going to get rushing touchdowns. So he looks really good. Definitely hesitant to pull the trigger on Kyren. Definitely hesitant to pull the trigger on Alvin Kamara, even though Kendra Miller doesn't seem to be a threat. I just think the Saints aren't going to be very good, and Alvin Kamara is not an efficient player anymore. You also have the pesky, presence of Taysom Hill stealing, goal line touches and stuff too. So the next guy I'd be looking at here is Josh Jacobs. If I get back if he gets back to me and Josh Jacobs is still there, he'd be on my radar. But obviously that I have 2 stud running backs already. I don't really know if I need to get a third one now without going and getting another wide receiver. So we'll just see what is there for me. But yeah, Josh Jacobs is the target here. He did not have an efficient year with the Raiders last year, but he gets an offensive line, a system, a coaching, and a talent upgrade all across the board. Everything gets better for Josh Jacobs. He has no competition. Aaron Jones is in Minnesota. A.J. Dillon is on injured reserve. The only guy that can compete with him for touches is a rookie. So Josh Jacobs looks really, really good. Let's kick it over to wide receiver and see what's there. Ooh, I love DK Metcalf. I have no problems with DK, DJ Moore, Devontae. I even like Rashee Rice just because I don't think he's going to get suspended this year, but I'm going to go and get DK Metcalf. Love him this year. DK is always within striking distance of a top 15 season. He seems to always miss like a game or two to keep him out of that. And eventually he's going to just pop off for a big touchdown year. It's tough to trust Geno Smith all the time, but we know Metcalf is a freak physically, and he can take the top off the defense, and he can just go off at any time. He's going to have monster spike weeks, makes him a really fun best ball play, really fun DFS option. But honestly, for weekly fantasy football, I've had him in the past, and very rarely does he disappoint. He's usually going to get me around 15 fantasy points, and he has the ability to get a big 30-burger game at any point. So 5 picks away, we can get another one. I'm already here. That went fast. Rashee Rice is a really good value right here. T. Higgins down here looks like a good value too. Kick it back over to running back and see who's there. Not super interested in any of that. We are in round 5, so tight end. This is right where I'm doing it. Mark Andrews is the consensus favorite at 52% by the experts. And I have no problem with him. I like Mark Andrews just fine. I do think, though, I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid. I just think the upside with Kincaid is insane this year. Diggs is gone. Gabe Davis is gone. It's over 200 targets just vacated from the Buffalo Bills passing game. And who's coming in to replace that? We have Khalil Shakir, who he's fine. He's good. I think he'll be a good player, but I don't know if he's going to be like a wide receiver 1. Curtis Samuel, who's mostly a slot/gadget guy, and we have Keon Coleman, who is a raw rookie. Kincaid was the tight end 11, I think, last year. Let me just double check that just so I'm giving you factual information. There's definitely at least tight end 13. He's tight end 11. He had 73 catches on 91 targets. Not a big touchdown guy last year, but that is going to change. He had 16 touchdowns over his last 2 years in college. Great hands, great run runner, good size, decent athlete. He's not a burner. He's not going to like crush on yards after the catch, but I actually think he improved in that regard down the stretch last year. So he's got tight end one, overall tight end one upside for sure. He, to me, is a Kelsey level type of talent, and he has Kelsey level type of role. Does Mark Andrews still have that? I don't know, because Isaiah Likely might kind of worm his way into more looks. We have a healthy Rashad Bateman. We have Derrick Henry there kind of possibly taking away red zone opportunities. We have Lamar that always takes away red zone opportunities. And then obviously Zay Flowers is there too. So Mark Andrews is a good, safe play. He's safer than Kincaid, but Kincaid has upside that I cannot ignore. Still going to wait on quarterback, though. I did go after my tight end. I said round 5 is about where I'd go. And Andrews or Kincaid, whoever you prefer, is good there. Javonte Williams really stands out as the first running back to turn back to. But we got wide receivers here, and Tank Dell. I want a little bit of exposure to that Houston offense for sure. And if I can get it right there in round 6 with Tank Dell, that is going to be just fine to me. We'll talk about in a second. Oh, man, this is flying. This is the fastest flying mock we've done in a while here. Ooh, Calvin Ridley. Love Calvin Ridley this year. Super underrated. Not sure why. Quick go back to running back and see. Javonte Williams is still there. The question is, can I get Javonte Williams if I wait? I'm going to risk it. And you want to know why? Because I know I damn sure I'm not going to get Ridley if I wait. So I'm getting Ridley. He's an unsexy pick. I got him also in my mock from the second overall spot. Why is he unsexy? Well, he's almost 30 years old. He's playing for his third team in the last 4 years. And, well, technically the last 3 years. And he's got DeAndre Hopkins on the other side. He's operating with a second-year quarterback who's very unproven. He kind of had drop issues last year. So all that is true. There's no denying that. However, he's still in his physical prime. This is a guy who has exhibited top 20 ability throughout his career when he's healthy. And he was literally wide receiver 17 last year. So there's really not much to hate about Calvin Ridley, especially the fact that he was so good despite going into a new system and working with a coach and a quarterback they'd never worked with last year. And he spent an entire season away from football, and he was still that productive. He had numerous touchdown drops, and he still was that productive. So Calvin Ridley as a 7th round pick is just an absolute smash for me. I don't really care. There's other guys who have hypothetical upside in that range, but I don't think anybody has the floor and ceiling that he offers this year. Courtland Sutton is a pretty good value too, by the way. He's another guy we could turn to right here. Khalil Shakir is interesting. Going to turn back to running back. Javonte Williams is gone, so I did take a risk, and that didn't pan out. But honestly, it's a PPR league. I want to have that 4th wide receiver right now, and he's a guy of value. Not seeing anybody really stand out, so I might kick it over to quarterback, and I think I'm going to go get Jayden Daniels here. So sometimes these drafts do not go exactly how you want them to go. So if we go back and look at running back, I do think Devin Singletary is an okay play, and he just went off the board. He might have been the guy I went for there. Jonathan Brooks would definitely be on my radar as well. I'm wondering if I can wait another round and get Jonathan Brooks. I think it's possible just because he was – oh, no, there he's gone. But that's okay because Jerome Ford is an awesome value in round 9. Nick Chubb's on the pup. They just released Deontay Foreman. All they have behind him is Pierre Strong. So he looks great. I think it went a little bit fast. If I could have kind of calibrated for one more second, I probably would have reached for Jonathan Brooks in round 8 instead of taking Jayden Daniels. But Jerome Ford 1 round later is a great value. Jerome Ford at the very minimum is going to be the guy for the Browns at running back for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, maybe the entire year. So he looks awesome. As we look for more running back depth, Blake Corum is the first guy to single here. Chuba Hubbard is going to be the main guy for the Panthers for at least the first 4 plus games of the year. So he's viable. Nick Chubb, if you want to bet on a historic comeback, you can do that. And obviously that's a handcuff to Ford. I don't really want to do that. Nothing wrong with it if you do. Of course, Hubbard and Blake Corum, the 2 guys that I wanted, are gone. I'll circle back and talk about Jayden Daniels in just a little bit. Let's just make sure we're getting the guys we want. Josh Downs looks like a pretty good value if we can get him back at full strength. Dontavian Wicks is a nice punt. So far, that's probably where I'm looking. Tight end, you can go get another 10 if you want. I'm probably going to go get Josh Downs. Then I'm going to probably end up looking back at running back again just because Jerome Ford as the only running back off the bench isn't amazing. I want to take some high upside shots. You can go with somebody like J.K. Dobbins, who athletically is still good, and he's in a familiar system with Greg Roman. It's just going to come down to opportunity. See who else pops up. Trey Benson. Trey Benson's probably the first guy on my radar as far as explosive rookies. Marshawn Lloyd's another one. Jalen Wright is another one. The first guy here is going to be Trey Benson. I want to take a shot on explosive, talented rookies who are very, very close to a big role right away. Trey Benson is probably the one in best position just because James Conner is almost 30 years old and eventually he's going to wear down or just be bad. And Arizona might also not be very good this year. So any combination of that could end up leading to Benson getting a lot of touches by midseason. And that's all I really need. He's just on my bench for now. And if I can have him for the stretch run being a productive option, that is a win for me. Same with Jalen Wright. I think Jalen Wright is an awesome handcuff to Devon Achane. And if you want to just take him as a depth piece in general, that's fine too. He would be the next guy I'm targeting here for sure. Quick look at wide receiver to see what else is there. Dontavian Wicks. Darnell Mooney is a bit of a sneaky wide receiver too on the year, by the way. Rondale Moore got hurt for the Falcons, and Atlanta has, I feel like they have things pretty concentrated with Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson. Obviously, I have that Drake London exposure here, so I don't think I want him, but he's somebody to consider. Xavier Leggett, he's fine as an upside play if he can work into the starting job for the Panthers. Nobody here is really standing out. Wicks would probably be the one, although right now it doesn't look like he's the guy for the Packers, so it's a bit of a dice roll for sure. And I do have 5 wide receivers, so I don't need to force it. I can just go and take the best guy available. So right now, that probably would be Wicks to me, unless a running back stands out. I think Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd, both are in play. Bucky Irving could have a role behind Rashad White. Braylon Allen, if Breece Hall gets hurt. All these guys are viable. I think I will go with Marshawn Lloyd. And the reason being, Josh Jacobs, I think he's in for a big year this year, but he wasn't very good last year. He got banged up last year. So if we get into a situation where Josh Jacobs is inefficient or just not healthy, the Packers could turn to the explosive Lloyd, who is a bit of a battering ram out of USC. So he has his own injury issue at the moment, but he's not on the PUP list, so he's supposed to be active. And the team just put AJ Dillon on IR. So in theory, Lloyd in round 12 is a very good value. I really haven't had a chance to go back and talk about Jayden Daniels yet. So let me just go grab my next pick. We're looking at wide receiver. We want somebody high upside. That's going to be Quentin Johnson for me. I do like these other guys. Marvin Mims, big play threat, could work his way into the number 2 role for Denver. Ricky Pearsall, if he gets a role, like if Ayuk gets traded, you think that's going to happen? If Deebo got hurt, he could absolutely have value and be a pretty good play. But Quentin Johnson, at least initially, I know he's got his drop issues, but at least initially, he looks like he should be starting for the Chargers, and they seem to be high on him. He's got the size, catch radius, athletic build, speed, everything to be a stud wide receiver. So the fact that I could take a chance on him in round 13 is pretty cool. All right, so now we'll go get our defense and our kicker. For defense, I mean, the Chiefs were awesome last year. I'll just keep it going with them. We'll go over here and get our kicker, who will probably be, who the fuck cares? It's kicker. Just to go back to Jayden Daniels, I keep trying to go back, but this mock is moving faster than any mock I've done yet. Jayden Daniels has a built-in rushing floor. We know he can get a ton of yardage with his legs. We know he can get touchdowns on the ground, and he's got a big arm too. So just offensively here, I feel like the Bills' offense will still be good again, but it might struggle just enough for their kicker to be a pretty nice add. He usually is pretty viable anyways, so that logic checks out. But yeah, Daniels, he is a rookie. It's not like the Commanders are a stacked offense. It's not like they are supposed to be a very good team, but he does have Scary Terry. Maybe they end up trading for Brandon Ayuk. And he does have a solid check down guy in Austin Eckler. So, but really it's the rushing floor, and you just know that he has the ability to, absolutely smash in his first year. So a couple of things I definitely could have done better in this mock. I know there was a point in round 8 when I took Jayden Daniels. If I could have done that pick over, I would have definitely prioritized Jonathan Brooks And I would have felt a little bit better about my running back situation. I only got a C grade on this one, so it's not the best. I do think the system probably grades Daniels as a reach, or maybe doesn't grade him as highly as I do. I think Daniels is going to be awesome. I have no qualms with him as my top quarterback at all. But in the previous mock video I did, it was made pretty clear that quarterback is insanely deep. Like, you can go and get Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and any of these guys, and feel really, really good about the team you're building around them. So I personally will take a lot from doing this mock again, just to kind of illustrate the guys I can definitely hope to get around that range. I will, just as a quick recap, remind you, probably not going to get Bijan at 1.07, but you just never know. You never know with home leagues, and certainly apparently you never know with mocks with Rome Odunze going 4th overall, was it? Just wild. That said, overall, this is a pretty deep team. We have some high upside guys off the bench in Josh Downs, Trey Benson, Marshawn Lloyd, Quentin Johnston. All risky guys, but they're on my bench for a reason, right? So if I have to, I can cut those guys or make a trade and improve my depth. But I think they are all high upside guys that could help me out later in the year. Calvin Ridley, not even starting. He is a wide receiver 2 at the very minimum. So he can kind of rotate in with Tank Dell as my flex for sure, and I'd feel great about that. Jerome Ford is a possible flex every week. He could rotate too. But Tank Dell as your wide receiver 3 or flex is a big win. He's going to be a monster. I think there's definitely going to be weeks where the Houston guys take turns, but I value Tank Dell and Nico Collins above Stephon Diggs. So getting him that late in round 6 feels really good. Everybody else checks out. Hopefully this helped you out a little bit. You can smash your league from the 7th pick. All right, thanks for watching and good luck.